In a grand hall, a woman named Sierra Lancaster stands trial for a grave crime. She is accused of murdering the crown prince by setting his palace ablaze and is subsequently sentenced to death. Gagged and unable to speak, her horrified eyes convey her silent plea of innocence. Guards seize her and drag her away as the judge orders her imprisonment until the day of her execution. Surrounded by an illusion of red roses, Sierra inwardly screams that she is not a killer. A sharp voice commands her to hold her head high. It is her father, the Duke of Lancaster, who stands beside her sister, Daisy, and publicly calls Sierra a disgrace to their family. Sierra remembers a moment of fleeting hope when she saw them, believing they had come to save her. However, her sister Daisy simply looks away with a sorrowful expression. The Duke then addresses the court, taking her sister's hand and declaring that he has failed as a father to properly raise his daughter. He formally apologizes for all the trouble she has caused. The betrayal is absolute. Her own father has abandoned her to her fate. Later, a guard viciously throws Sierra into a dark dungeon cell. He kicks her while she is down, sneering that this is karma for her failed seductions and crimes. From a nearby cell, others gossip gleefully about her impending death, believing justice is being served. Lying on the cold stone floor, Sierra realizes her situation is hopeless. No one will listen to her, and she wonders who truly killed the prince and framed her. She notes that a gag and chains are suppressing her magic, but resolves to escape. Her mind drifts to a memory of her sister Daisy, visiting her in secret. Daisy had told her to escape, promising that she and their father would find the true culprit. She claimed that putting Sierra in prison was a ruse to mislead their enemies, admitting it was unfair to her. A naive Sierra, moved to tears, believed her sister, and felt that their actions were justified. Daisy had reassured her, saying she knew Sierra could never harm her own fiancé. Sierra had cried with relief, admitting she feared everyone had forsaken her. Daisy had gently wiped her tears, calling her a silly girl. She had embraced her, vowing to never abandon her own sister. Daisy urged her to leave quickly, promising they would find the real culprit. As a cloaked Sierra departed, Daisy promised they would soon be reunited. Sierra recalls how deeply she trusted her sister at that moment, but that memory is now drenched in the blood of betrayal. The scene shifts to Sierra, bloodied and on the ground, being accused by a man named Crown Prince Arthur. He claims she used black magic to injure Daisy after escaping from prison. Sierra is stunned, unable to comprehend how Daisy could lie so cruelly. Nearby, Daisy clutches her arm, which bears a mark of dark magic, and weakly suggests an impostor might have harmed her. Crown Prince Arthur dismisses this, declaring the magic is proof Sierra is a dark sorcerer, and that he will legally abolish her powers to prevent further harm. Sierra tries to protest, but is held down. With a flash of light, Arthur extracts her magic source, remarking on its power and the danger she posed. Sierra lies defeated in a pool of her own blood, her power stolen from her. Arthur then offers the potent magic source to Daisy, deeming her worthy of its power. Sierra watches in a daze as Daisy accepts the magic. She desperately tries to communicate that she is not the family's black magic user. Looking down with false pity, Daisy tells her poor sister that, of course, it wasn't her. The horrifying truth dawns on Sierra. Her sisters set fire to the palace and orchestrated everything to steal her power. A hidden memory reveals Daisy manipulating Sierra's love, asking for her power. With a chilling smile, Daisy had declared the deal was made. Sierra screams, asking her sister why she would do this. Through sobs, she pleads, reminding Daisy of their bond. Prince Arthur calls her unrepentant and declares that Daisy's kindness has tolerated her for too long. Deciding not to wait for the official execution, he grabs her by the hair to kill her himself. The crowd cheers, calling her a disgrace. They shout that burning is the only way to eliminate an evil dark mage like her. The mob's cruel chant echoes around her. As she is engulfed in flames, Sierra wonders if the pain comes from the false accusations or losing her magic. She realizes it is her own foolishness that hurts the most. She dies refusing her fate, believing that lying should not be the key to survival. She screams that she is not the one who deserves to die. With her last breath, she wishes for a second chance to make the hypocrites pay for their sins. A mysterious voice tells her it warned her about the lack of kindness in humans. The voice laments that she did not believe it. A woman's figure tells her to go. She urges her to finish what she must do. Sierra awakens with a start, feeling disoriented. She wonders where she is. She finds herself on the floor of a luxurious room. She recognizes it as the Crown Prince's palace. This shocks her, as the palace should have been destroyed in the fire. Noticing the chains on her wrists, she has a stunning realization. She has returned to 3 years in the past. She recalls this specific day. She was drugged and framed for attempting to seduce the Crown Prince, who was her sister Daisy's fiancé. The incident led to vicious rumors. The prince's scorn, her expulsion from the Magic Academy, and the annulment of her own engagement. Though she remembers telling herself she didn't care about her former fiancé, a tear suggests otherwise. She marvels at this second chance, wondering if a god took pity on her unjust death. A bitter memory surfaces of Daisy telling her the Lancaster family only needed one sorcerer. Daisy had cruelly asked how a bastard like her could dream of attending the same school. Now, Sierra understands her sister's early jealousy. Fueled by this knowledge, she vows to show no mercy and settle the score. The naive Sierra is gone forever. In her place is someone who has returned from hell to claim her revenge. Sierra stands, a new fire in her eyes, on the very day her downfall began. She declares that things will be different this time and uses an ability called creation. This rare power, originating from ancient alchemy, allows the user to transform substances into new magical items. Creators are exceptionally rare, and families with one can achieve great power. 3 years ago, the Lancaster family had declined because most creators were under the Crown Prince's control. A flashback shows her father lamenting their family's situation, stating their only path to revival is through creating magical items. They discuss how this is difficult with the Crown Prince controlling all the creators. Her father then reveals that Sierra is the family's only creator. Daisy feigns concern, noting that such work is a heavy burden for her sister. The innocent Sierra of the past had cheerfully agreed, eager to help. She promised to work hard for her family, unaware of their cold, calculating expressions. Back in the present, Sierra scoffs at her past self's idiocy. She now sees that her family's love was a lie. They only ever saw her as a tool. She stands, determined to use the chance heaven has given her. This time, she will change the future, and she will not be the one to die. She bursts from the room, frantically shouting for help. Crown Prince Leo and his young aide are startled by her sudden appearance. The prince remains silent. Sierra points a shaking finger directly at him, accusing him of trying to kill her. As his aide shouts at her for her disrespect, she turns and flees down the corridor. The Crown Prince dismisses her as the Duke's second daughter. He remarks that her sister was expected and orders his aide to follow Sierra to prevent any rumors from spreading. Sierra continues to run, her cries for help attracting the attention of people in the palace. She dramatically collapses to the floor, pleading for someone to save her. When the aide catches up, she warns him to stay back. The growing crowd of onlookers murmurs, wondering if the young noblewoman is being kidnapped. The Crown Prince's aide frantically denies that they were kidnapping Sierra. She, however, is focused on a newly arrived carriage, correctly guessing that her sister, Daisy, is waiting outside. The crowd buzzes with excitement at the sight of the Duke's carriage and the presence of his eldest daughter. Daisy approaches with a look of surprise, asking what Sierra is doing there. Sierra turns the question back on her, asking if Daisy truly doesn't know why she's making a scene. Realizing that a direct accusation would be dismissed, Sierra decides to play the part of a frantic victim for now. Daisy is secretly pleased. Although Sierra's public escape wasn't her plan, the ensuing scandal serves her purposes well. She puts on an act of concern and asks what has happened. Sierra launches into her performance, claiming someone is trying to kill her. She points at the Crown Prince and his men, crying that they want her dead and that she woke up in his palace with no memory of how she got there. Daisy is momentarily thrown off by this unexpected accusation. She quickly recovers, embracing Sierra and telling her not to be afraid, though Sierra senses the falsehood in her actions and continues her act. Turning to the Crown Prince, Daisy begs him to forgive her sister. She pleads for Sierra's life, claiming her sister has always admired him, and offers to annul her own engagement to him and withdraw Sierra from the Magic Academy as an apology. The Crown Prince internally scoffs at the ridiculous claim that Sierra admires him after slandering him so publicly. He coldly accepts the terms, officially ending his engagement to Daisy and banning Sierra from the academy. While Daisy tries to calm a seemingly hysterical Sierra, who insists she's innocent, Sierra's demeanor suddenly changes. She smiles confidently and announces she has a plan to prove she was framed. Amidst the crowd's insults, she holds her ground. Sierra then produces a magic tool she created, a recorder. She explains that since she hadn't turned it off after making it, it must have recorded the events of her attack. The device projects a magical screen showing Daisy drugging an unconscious Sierra and revealing her plot to be the family's sole mage. Sierra feigns devastation at her sister's betrayal. She confronts Daisy, crying about how deeply she had trusted her. Internally, Daisy fumes, unable to believe her plan has been exposed so publicly. The onlookers are stunned by the revelation that the beloved eldest daughter was the perpetrator. With a cold glint in her eyes, Sierra thinks to herself that she merely exposed the truth. She savors the moment, delighted that Daisy is alive to suffer the consequences of her actions. Daisy stands frozen in shame as the crowd whispers around her. At that moment, the Duke of Lancaster arrives, claiming to be passing by after hearing his daughter caused a disturbance. The Crown Prince notes his timely arrival, suspecting he is there to protect his favored eldest daughter. Sierra knows her father is only there to perform damage control for Daisy. The Duke addresses the crowd, admitting his family's fault and vowing to uphold their honor. He declares he will take both his daughters home for a stern lesson. Sierra reflects on how he has cleverly reframed the incident as a private family matter, but Daisy's reputation is now in tatters. The Duke then pivots, announcing good news about a welfare institute his family is building. He speaks of their commitment to helping homeless children, successfully painting his family in a charitable light. He even invites the public to participate in adoptions. The crowd's opinion quickly shifts, and they begin praising the Duke's generosity. Sierra sees through her father's manipulation to salvage his reputation and resolves to pay more attention to the children at the Institute in this lifetime. She recalls the Lancaster family's fated decline, brought on by their political alignments and lack of a powerful conjurer. In her past life, their reliance on her led to their ruin when she was gone. Determined to avoid that fate, she decides she will leave her toxic family and forge her own path. Back at the mansion, a terrified maid pleads with Daisy. She insists a bottle was given to her by the master and that she is innocent. Daisy calmly sips from a cup and states the maid simply used too little of the poison, implying she was supposed to use more. The maid grovels, relieved that Sierra is no longer a threat. Daisy is insulted by the comparison. She scoffs, questioning if the maid truly believes a bastard like Sierra could be more talented than her. The maid's flattery turns to terror as she begs for her life. Elsewhere, Sierra mulls over her punishment of detention, noting that it won't impede Daisy's entry into the academy. To secure her own future, Sierra realizes she needs a large sum of money and plans to sneak out. She looks around her dilapidated room in a remote part of the estate, a stark contrast to Daisy's lavish quarters. Finding nothing of value to sell, she despairs for a moment. She then notices a pure gold necklace she doesn't recall ever seeing before. Deciding it can be exchanged for money later, she tucks it away. A fleeting sense of familiarity about the necklace bothers her, but she dismisses it. Her priority now is finding a way to get into the Magic Academy. She arrives at her destination and is met by the Crown Prince's aide, who seems surprised she actually came. Donning a red cloak, Sierra coolly requests an audience with His Highness. The aide leads her in, confessing the prince had anticipated her arrival. He nervously warns her against causing any trouble, which she calmly dismisses. The aide announces her to Crown Prince Leo. The prince acknowledges her, noting she arrived earlier than he expected. Sierra takes a seat and apologizes for her earlier accusations, admitting it was a misunderstanding. He correctly intuits she is there for more than just an apology. She confirms his suspicion, stating she wishes to seek his cooperation. When he bids her to continue, she asks for his help to get into school. She shrewdly points out his need for a skilled artificer. The prince considers her proposal and agrees. He reveals he needs one more person for his team in the upcoming annual competition. He explains that the winner of this Magic Academy event receives a title and land. He offers to write her a letter of recommendation for enrollment on the condition that she creates a magic item for him within 3 days. Though the deadline is tight, Sierra weighs her options. She accepts his challenge without hesitation, promising to deliver the item as requested. As she sneaks back into the Duke's mansion later that night, she fears being caught. Guards on patrol hear her and call out just as she is about to be discovered. The necklace she found flashes with light. She vanishes. The guards find nothing and move on. Sierra finds herself in a surreal, starry space, realizing the necklace has pulled her inside it. Suddenly, a silver-haired man appears and grabs her by the throat. She struggles, demanding to know if he is the spirit of the necklace. He commands her to be still and declares that she is now his slave. He quickly amends the term to servant. He leans close and tells her she is his, a claim she immediately rejects. She regains her composure and asks what he wants. She correctly identifies him as an artifact spirit who cannot leave the item he inhabits. He says he is willing to help her escape, but finds her attitude uncooperative. He then scoffs at being called a mere artifact spirit. He tells her not to compare him to such lowly beings. A name comes to her mind: Achilles, one of the primordial gods thought to have disappeared long ago. He confirms his identity, revealing himself to be an ancient god. Sierra is shocked, wondering how such a powerful being became trapped in a necklace. She feels a strange familiarity with his purple eyes, but cannot place the memory. A voice calls out her name, urging her to wake up. She gasps as Achilles bites her neck, a strange sensation washing over her. A glowing magic circle forms around them, binding them in a master-servant contract. She resists, her mind filled with everything she still needs to do, her unfinished revenge, and her chance at a new life flash before her eyes. Sierra fiercely rejects the one-sided contract, declaring that her resolve is unshakable, regardless of whether Achilles is a god or not. He scoffs at her defiance. He admits her rare, light attribute magic is impressive, but points out that her current power is only enough to trap him temporarily. He warns that once her strength fails, he will force the contract upon her. Unfazed, Sierra smirks. She leans in close and confidently informs him that he still doesn't understand the situation. She touches his chest and explains that even with her weak magic, it's more than enough to kill a weakened soul like him. She playfully demands that he verbally acknowledge her as his master. She realizes that despite his godly origins, he is now just a spirit, making her the one with the upper hand. Still, a master-servant contract feels wrong to her. She believes a god like Achilles would rather die than be subservient. As a compromise, she offers him two choices: become her servant or face a mutual demise. Achilles retorts that he would rather they both perish. Sierra then proposes an equal contract of coexistence. When he questions her fearlessness about their linked fates, she replies that life is a gamble and she must be brave to confront her enemies. She sweetens the deal, promising that her power will grow with the contract, preventing his disappearance, and then cheekily asks for some benefits upfront. Achilles grants her a surge of lost ancient magic. Sierra is stunned to receive this forbidden power, which was thought to have vanished along with the gods. He reveals his terms. He will help her increase her power and become a god, and in return, she must resurrect him. He tells her to simply absorb the power for now. A complex magical system of time reversal materializes around her. She realizes that with her current strength, she can only freeze time in a small area, but this power will grow as she becomes an archmage. She then asks if it was Achilles who sent her back 3 years. He dismisses the idea as boring and seems surprised to learn about her past death. Sierra deflects his questions and insists they finalize their contract. As their names appear in magical script above them, their pact is sealed. They agree to the equal contract, using their blood as proof. Their fates are now intertwined. If one lives, the other lives. If one dies, so does the other. The cuts on their hands magically heal, signifying the contract's completion. Sierra is expelled from the necklace's inner world, landing back in the moonlit garden. Achilles' voice echoes in her mind, a new ability of their contract that she is not yet used to. He tells her to get accustomed to it. He explains that the necklace has become a vessel for their sealed contract and transformed into a ring. Sierra is pleased with this convenient change, as the ring has the same storage ability as the necklace. She asks if he can come out, but he tells her her magic is too low. He can only emerge once she masters beginner-level magic. With her new ally and power, Sierra sets her sights on increasing her magic, completing the Crown Prince's task, and enrolling in the Magic Academy. A flashback to 16 years ago reveals Sierra's mother leaving her as a baby. She entrusts the infant to fate, wishing her a happy life. She places a sacred family heirloom, a necklace, on her daughter. Her last words are a plea for Sierra to break their family's curse, and a warning to never let her father find her. Sierra remembers growing up alone in the forest with no parents. That changed the day the Duke appeared and brought her to the Lancaster mansion. For a moment, young Sierra was happy to know she had a family. The Duke introduced her to her older sister, Daisy, and formally accepted her as his daughter. Sierra had greeted her new sister with innocent joy, but Daisy had only looked down on her as a bastard child. Sierra quickly realized she didn't belong and resolved to leave once she was older. 2 years later, she awakened her magical source. Daisy was the first to notice her rare light magic. Sierra recalls her sister's warm smile, now understanding it was the predatory look of a hunter sizing up its prey. She now sees that Daisy has always coveted her power and vows to make all the hypocrites who harmed her pay. She will kill them all. At the dinner table, she bursts into unsettling laughter. When her family asks what's wrong, she feigns remorse, claiming she now understands she misunderstood her sister's intentions. She apologizes for her behavior at the Crown Prince's residence. Her father and Daisy accept her act with feigned sincerity. Seizing the opportunity, Sierra requests permission to go out and buy a gift for Daisy's upcoming coming-of-age ceremony. The Duke considers it a good opportunity for a public apology. However, Daisy, suspicious of Sierra's sudden change, inwardly objects to lifting her house arrest. The Duke overrules her, stating they must use the ceremony to clear the family's name. He agrees to lift the house arrest on the condition that Sierra apologizes properly. Daisy smiles sweetly, saying she'll look forward to the gift. Sierra smiles back, promising an unforgettable present. Later, Daisy expresses her unease to their father in his office. She feels something is off about her sister. She worries Sierra will no longer be obedient. The Duke dismisses her concerns, reminding her that he is Sierra's father and Lancaster is her home. He declares that any disobedience will be seen as traitorous ingratitude. He then unveils his plan. After Daisy's ceremony, Sierra will become her exclusive alchemist. Daisy will sell the magical items as her own, solidifying her power and influence over other families after she inherits the ducal title. Daisy assures her father she will take good care of her sister. Meanwhile, Achilles' voice in Sierra's mind advises her to just kill anyone who makes her unhappy, dismissing Daisy as a mere high-level mage. Sierra muses that while her sister is malicious, she is still considered beautiful among the nobility. She decides to bide her time for revenge until she is stronger. Achilles offers his help. Sierra adamantly refuses, wanting to handle her revenge on her own. Achilles relents and decides to rest and recover his magic. Left alone with her thoughts, Sierra feels a bit bored without him to talk to. She heads to the Holy Night Crossroad for some shopping. It's a place where all kinds of magical items are sold, a familiar haunt from her past life where she earned money as a conjurer. This time, however, she is completely broke. She spots her destination. Not the exclusive store for nobles, but the scrap recycling station next to it. This is her chance to strike gold. She greets the vendor and asks to see his wares. As she browses, a young noblewoman named Amy spots her from afar. Amy points her out to her brother, identifying her as the bitch from Daisy's family. Sierra notices them, but remains unbothered, realizing the scandal has already spread. Amy's brother tries to calm her down, but she is determined to confront Sierra. She declares she will teach Sierra a lesson on Daisy's behalf, while Sierra is negotiating with the vendor, who plans to swindle the seemingly naive young lady. Amy storms over. She loudly denounces Sierra as the shameless, illegitimate daughter who tried to seduce the crown prince. A crowd quickly gathers, eager for the drama. Sierra coolly turns to Amy and compares her to a piece of garbage, asking how much she is worth. Amy is enraged by the insult and threatens to tell Daisy. Sierra encourages her, calling her a piece of junk who spouts rubbish. The onlookers are shocked by her audacity. Sierra then addresses Amy's lower status as a viscount's daughter, questioning if her behavior is meant to shame her own family or the ducal house she is defending. She muses on how the powerless often try to ingratiate themselves with the powerful by oppressing the fallen. They seek to find their own value in this way, unaware they are merely pawns. From a distance, Amy's brother watches, observing that Sierra seems very different from her old self. Sierra smugly informs Amy that what she just did is how one properly hits someone. Amy is left stunned and trembling, calling Sierra a crazy woman. Her brother, Andre, steps in and tells his sister she was in the wrong from the start, but Amy demands he retaliate on her behalf. He calmly reminds her that they are there to buy a gift for Daisy. The mention of Daisy's gift distracts Amy, and she eagerly agrees to go shopping. As they walk away, she reminds her brother he owes her and must help her get revenge next time. Much to his exasperation, Sierra taunts them, remarking that they are only good for buying trash, and sarcastically wonders what kind of gift they will find for Daisy. Amy retorts that she is heading to the VIP store to buy items far beyond Sierra's budget. After they leave, the scrap vendor asks Sierra if she is angry. She coolly replies that there is no reason to be, inwardly pitying the foolish girl. Rummaging through the scraps, she discovers a valuable monster egg that the vendor clearly didn't recognize. She offers to buy all the junk for a mere 10 copper coins. The vendor, realizing he is dealing with someone shrewd, quickly agrees. Sierra is thrilled with her purchase and plans to head to the magic tower to melt the scrap metal into gold coins while Achilles sleeps. She arrives at the magic tower, a central hub for mages. The tower offers private rooms with different magical elements, perfect for self-cultivation. She requests a basic room for an hour, which costs 5 copper coins. The receptionist gives her a room card, explaining that it will be valid for 1 hour. He mutters about her being a miser as she leaves. Sierra activates the room card. Now inside a magically shielded room, she prepares to begin her work. She uses her alchemy, a skill she had mastered in her past life. She can transmute any metals or stones that react to gold elements. With a wave of her hand, she transforms the pile of junk into a shower of gleaming gold coins. She vows to attain even more wealth, status, and power than the Lancaster family ever had. The sound of the coins is music to her ears. Later, at an imperial magic store, Amy and Andre are admiring a pair of sparkling earrings. They are shocked to learn the price is 1,000 gold coins because they are a rare S-class magical artifact. The rarity of such an item is well known. The shopkeeper explains that the earrings were originally intended for auction, but are now being sold in the store. The siblings are bewildered that such a valuable item is being sold so casually. Andre tells his sister they only have 600 gold coins and should settle for an A-class item. But Amy is smitten, certain Daisy would adore the S-class earrings. She begs her brother to go home for more money. Andre hesitates, knowing the amount is equivalent to their family's entire annual income. He reluctantly agrees, but only if she promises to stop throwing tantrums and bullying Sierra. Amy quickly agrees. He tells her to wait at the store while he fetches the money. After he leaves, he is surprised to see Sierra. She coolly greets him as Andre and asks him to step aside. Inside the store, Amy is annoyed to find Sierra there as well. She scoffs, assuming the country bumpkin can't afford anything. Sierra ignores her and confidently tells the shopkeeper she will take the S-class earrings. The shopkeeper politely suggests she look at other items due to the high price. In response, Sierra summons a large pile of gold coins from her ring, stunning both the shopkeeper and Amy. Amy is in disbelief, wondering how Sierra could possess such wealth. She concludes that the money must be stolen, since the second prince, who favors Daisy, would never give it to Sierra. She grabs Sierra's arm and accuses her of being a thief. She demands that the shopkeeper refuse the sale, calling Sierra a thieving, illegitimate daughter. Unfazed, Sierra smiles. She challenges Amy to prove her accusation. Amy takes this as a confession. Sierra dismisses her as an idiot and tells the shopkeeper to wrap up the item. Amy tries to claim the earrings, insisting she saw them first. Sierra calmly asks if she paid a deposit, then declares the item is hers. Just then, Andre returns and asks what is happening. The shopkeeper informs him that Sierra has already purchased the S-grade magic items. Andre is secretly relieved, as the price was half of his personal funds, and suggests they find another gift. Amy throws a massive tantrum, screaming that she wants the earrings. Andre firmly tells her to stop. He apologizes to everyone for the disturbance, and Sierra coolly suggests he take his sister home and educate her properly. Sierra notes that Andre, unlike his sister, is quite reasonable. Andre gives Amy an ultimatum, They can either pick an A-grade item from another store or buy nothing at all. As they leave, Amy glares at Sierra, vowing revenge and hurling insults about her status and future abandonment. Sierra remains silent, unfazed by the empty threats. The shopkeeper watches her go, pitying her for the public humiliation he assumes she must be feeling. Sierra, however, finds the entire encounter amusing, noting Daisy's sycophant is not even worth her time. The shopkeeper presents her with a beautifully wrapped gift and an admission ticket to their upcoming auction. Sierra thanks him with a bright smile, which he misinterprets as her forcing a brave face. She then surprises him by giving him a B-grade recording device she created. As she leaves, the shopkeeper admires her kindness. He is then shocked to discover the true nature of her gift. He realizes that the Duke's second daughter is destined for greatness. Back at the magic tower, Sierra's powerful aura turns heads. She approaches the same receptionist and requests the advanced light element training room. She asks for an unlimited time slot and presents a gold card from the Imperial Bank for payment. The receptionist is stunned, realizing this wealthy lady is the same miser from before, and quickly provides her with a room key. She is escorted to the highest floor of the tower, which floats 8,000 meters high. This exclusive room is where the purest light element gathers. An attendant explains the use of the teleportation circles for moving between floors. She is then shown into her private training room. Sierra immediately feels the dense concentration of the light element. The magic within her begins to surge. The attendant wishes her success and departs. Sierra takes out the monster egg she bought, hoping the potent energy will help it hatch. She begins to absorb the light element, disassembling and reassembling it to make the power her own. This is the only way to truly integrate the external energy. Magic users typically awaken their elemental source between the ages of 6 and 8. The Lancaster family heads are traditionally water element mages, and Daisy, as an heir, possesses a rare ice element mutation. Her power is formidable. Daisy's mother, Andrea, came from a prestigious magical family. Both she and her father were archmages, making Daisy a prodigy who is already an advanced 1-star mage. Sierra, by contrast, is only an intermediate 2-star. Determined to surpass her sister, she pushes herself to convert more magic. She reaches the peak of the beginner level. Frustrated that she is still 4 stars behind Daisy, she pushes even harder, determined to level up further. Just as she begins to bleed from the strain, Achilles appears and stops her. She looks up, realizing he can now manifest outside the ring. He tells her she has reached the peak of the intermediate level and that there will be more opportunities to grow. He advises her to stop for now. Achilles warns Sierra that her body cannot handle the strain of absorbing so much power at once. She ignores him, her mind fixed on the upcoming deadlines. Daisy's coming-of-age ceremony and the start of the new school year at the Imperial Academy. She knows that her current power level is not enough to face what is coming. She decides to take a risk to grow stronger. Focusing her will, she channels a surge of energy into her ring. She believes that more power will give her a better chance to seize the rare opportunities that lie ahead. She is determined to crush her enemies in one decisive move. Achilles tries to stop her as she violently absorbs more energy, her body racked with pain. He tells her that even if she can heal her wounds, the pain will be unbearable. But Sierra is no stranger to pain. She remembers having her magic source ripped out by the second prince and dying once before. She declares that physical pain is nothing compared to the fear of becoming a helpless victim again. Achilles offers his help. He gently takes her hand, promising to aid her ascension. He explains that he will use his own magic to guide her in absorbing the elemental power. Sierra refuses, stating that relying on others for training can lead to unstable magic. She tells him that if he truly wants to help her, he should do it somewhere else in the future. Taking a deep breath, she pushes through the pain, feeling herself on the verge of a breakthrough. In a brilliant flash of light, she rapidly ascends through the intermediate levels, reaching 1-star, 2-star, and then 3-star. She finally reaches the peak of the intermediate level. Victorious, she notes that she is now only 1 star away from her sister, Daisy. Exhausted, she collapses into Achilles' arms, having reached her limit. He acknowledges her hard work. He gently kisses her forehead, telling his master to rest. A comforting, cool sensation spreads from his touch, warming her as she recovers. Waking up, She feels a strange new contract in her mind. The monster egg, now glowing, catches her attention. Achilles informs her that it is about to hatch. A small winged creature emerges, joyfully calling them Mom and Dad. Sierra and Achilles are both stunned by the creature's declaration that it has formed a contract with them. The newly hatched bird cheekily asks if its Master Mommy was doing something naughty with Master Daddy. Achilles drapes a cloak over Sierra's shoulders and tells her to put it on. Sierra, flustered, tells the little crow not to call Achilles Master Daddy. The bird is confused, asking if they weren't just kissing. Sierra clarifies that Achilles is her master, not her partner. The bird misinterprets this, much to her annoyance. She tosses the creature in the air, identifying it as a black crow. The bird puffs up its chest indignantly, proclaiming itself the king of crows. Achilles explains that the Black Crow clan once ruled over all beasts and mastered multiple elemental magics, but they vanished after the gods disappeared. Intrigued, Sierra asks the crow what magic it can perform. It proudly declares it can cast a fireball. With a great effort, the crow gathers its power. It lets out a tiny squeak and spits out a minuscule ember. The crow is mortified, insisting its fireball should be large enough to destroy a city and blaming Sierra's weakness as its master. Sierra retorts that young black crows can only produce pea-sized fireballs. She pats its head, noting that while not very useful, its fur is incredibly soft. She decides to name it Fluffy. Fluffy suddenly senses a murderous aura. The scene shifts to the Duke's reception hall. The second prince, Arthur, is visiting with Daisy. Daisy demurely credits her father for her recent advancement to level 2. Arthur praises her talent, contrasting it with her waste of a sister. Daisy plays the part of a dutiful daughter, stating that the family's responsibilities fall to her. They confirm their alliance, with Daisy hoping for his future assistance in leading the Duke's mansion. She then asks if he is still waiting for Sierra. He confirms, stating he must break off their engagement today. Meanwhile, Sierra tells Achilles she has a gift for him to celebrate their contract. She explains she has already placed it in the ring, wrapped in a purple ribbon. As Achilles holds the gift, he is overcome with an intense hatred. He remembers the kindness of his former master being trampled upon and hurt. In a fleeting moment of consciousness, he had seen her face, filled with despair as she burned in a fire. Back at the Lancaster mansion, a maid informs Sierra that Daisy and the second prince are waiting for her. The other maids gossip excitedly, aware that the prince is there to end his engagement with Sierra. They sneer at the idea of an illegitimate child marrying into royalty. As she walks, Fluffy asks about the second prince, and Sierra explains the political reasons for her temporary engagement. The crown prince is the child of the late empress. After her death, the emperor quickly remarried, and the current empress wants her own son, the second prince, to marry into the powerful Duke's family. Now that Daisy's engagement to the crown prince is broken, the Empress and the second prince are anxious to secure an engagement with Daisy instead. Sierra notes Daisy's willingness to marry the notorious playboy prince. She enters the guest hall, where the prince chides her for being late. He impatiently presents the annulment papers for her to sign. Ignoring Daisy's false words of comfort, Sierra quickly signs the document. The prince is taken aback by her bluntness. Sierra then coolly dismisses him, telling him not to appear before her again unless it's for important business. The prince is outraged, accusing her of acting out for attention because he knows she likes him. Fluffy angrily retorts that the prince is not worthy of its master's affection. The prince is shocked by the talking bird. Sierra calmly wishes the prince and her sister a happy life together, adding a veiled threat that they might not get another chance. The prince dismisses her words as a mysterious act. He decides to let her go for now, confident that both sisters will eventually be his. He promises Daisy he will make an official proposal to the Duke soon. As they leave, Daisy scoffs at the prince, thinking she would never want to be engaged to him if not for his mother's power and wealth. Back in her room, Sierra turns her attention to the Welfare Institute. She recalls seeing the Duke's income records in her past life. The memory of coded letters sparks a realization. She now understands the truth behind her family's finances. With a new plan in mind, she tells Fluffy they have 2 important tasks to complete that night. They arrive at the second prince's palace. From a rooftop, Sierra observes the guards complaining about their low pay. She easily bypasses them. Inside the prince's treasury, Fluffy is amazed by the vast amount of money. It asks if their important task is to steal from the ugly guy. Sierra clarifies that it is dirty money, and they are simply returning it to where it belongs. Meanwhile, the second prince celebrates breaking his engagement, planning to buy an expensive diamond and propose to Daisy on her birthday. He believes that with the Duke's support, he can defeat the crown prince. Across the city, in a poorer district, a couple despairs over their lack of money to pay the new fixed tax imposed by the queen. They face imprisonment if they cannot pay. Their hungry daughter looks on sadly. A mother comforts her hungry child, promising to buy bread tomorrow. Suddenly, a bag of gold coins appears, and the family rejoices at their newfound hope for survival. As Sierra flies over the city rooftops, Fluffy asks why she didn't keep any of the stolen money for herself. Sierra scoffs at the idea of keeping the second prince's dirty money. She assures Fluffy that she has other ways to make money and promises him all the barbecue he can eat. The little bird cheers, declaring his master is the best. Their next stop is the Welfare Institute. Inside, two nuns lament that the Duke's donations are insufficient to feed the children, forcing them to use their own meager savings. From the shadows, Sierra observes them, noting the director's kindness. The nuns pray for miracle. Just then, a child named Snow runs in, excitedly announcing that an angel has given them gold coins. He holds out a handful of sparkling coins and says there are many more bags outside. The children ask if they can buy new books, and the nuns, overwhelmed with gratitude, wonder who their mysterious benefactor could be. One of the nuns discovers an envelope left with the gold. It contains a note instructing them to take the children and leave that night, going somewhere the Duke cannot find them. With her tasks complete, Sierra looks forward to the next day's events. Achilles' voice reminds her of the most significant event, securing her enrollment qualification. She arrives at the Crown Prince's residence to deliver the item he requested. He is surprised she finished in only half a day and asks to see the repaired item. On a moonlit balcony, Sierra presents him with the restored magical artifact. The prince, whose name is Leo, is impressed and notes that her light attribute magic must be well hidden within the Duke's family. He invites her to call him by his name and asks what she knows about the item. Sierra recognizes the symbol as an ancient rune used on living beings. She explains that this is forbidden magic, as alchemy is only meant for inanimate objects. She trusts his integrity enough to entrust him with such a dangerous item. However, she asks what he plans to do with it. Without answering, he crushes the restored artifact in his hand. He explains he only wanted to confirm if it could be created. For 10 years, he had tried and failed to restore it himself, lacking the crucial light element. Now, he has his answer. Sierra is puzzled by his cryptic words. Leo then asks her if she knows why conjurers are so rare. She recounts the dark history. Ancient alchemists went mad with power, falling into the abyss of dark magic. They violated the ultimate taboo by using humans as test subjects. When this was discovered, the king ordered a purge that nearly wiped out all alchemists on the continent. Since then, the practice has been strictly regulated, and modern alchemists are now called conjurers to differentiate them. The creation of magic items involving living beings is strictly forbidden. Sierra declares that the prince's personal matters are not her concern, and if he needs her help in the future, they can discuss it then. She then asks about her admission to the academy. He hands her an admission token sent by the principal. She is thrilled to finally be able to enroll. Leo explains that due to the rarity of conjurers, she can enroll immediately without an entrance exam, though she will still need to register and take a magic power level test. Holding the admission letter, Sierra is overjoyed at the prospect of attending the academy she has always dreamed of. After she leaves, Leo summons his aide. He instructs him to keep Sierra's magic attribute a secret from the royal family and the Pope, ensuring her safety until she is protected by the academy. He then tells the aide to prepare for the Duke's coming-of-age ceremony. The aide is surprised, as the prince had previously stated he would not attend. The aide correctly guesses the prince is worried about Sierra being mistreated. Leo simply smiles, stating he is just looking out for a junior. The next morning at the second prince's residence, chaos erupts as the treasury is found completely empty. An enraged Prince Arthur orders a search for the thief, demanding their immediate execution upon capture. An attendant rushes in with more bad news. He reports that the welfare home established by the Duke and the prince is in trouble, Everyone inside disappeared overnight. To make matters worse, the director has publicly accused the Duke's residents of embezzling funds from the Institute. The news has spread throughout the city. A posted notice details their crimes, explaining the director fled to protect the children. At the Duke's mansion, the Duke is unfazed by the news. He orders his men to spread a counter-rumor that the director ran away with the funds. He commands a search of all cities and towns, with orders to kill the director on sight. The official story will be that the director committed suicide out of guilt. With that matter handled, he turns his focus to Daisy's coming-of-age ceremony, demanding that nothing go wrong. The estate is lavishly decorated for the momentous occasion. Daisy presents Sierra with a dress for the party, offering false sympathy about her broken engagement. Sierra notes that Daisy always gives her old, worn-out clothes for important events. Daisy says she is looking forward to Sierra's gift and leaves to get ready. Sierra remembers the past humiliation of being mocked by other nobles for her hand-me-down dresses and vows it will never happen again. She now understands it was never about saving money. A Grand Duke could certainly afford a new dress for his daughter. She reflects on the humiliation she endured for the sake of a happiness that never existed. A painful memory surfaces of her father comparing her to a lamb that must be guided to be happy. His words have been a thorn in her mind ever since. He had said that if left alone, animals would only suffer. He claimed he was helping it. At the time, she didn't understand, but now she realizes he was talking about his daughters, not the sheep. Her father treats them both the same way, and her sister, she realizes, is just like him. Elsewhere, the Pope is informed of Daisy's ceremony. He scoffs at her being just one of the heirs, musing that if she doesn't shine, the Duke's position may not be hers. He decides not to attend, preferring to let the other nobles contend with the Duke's faction. On the road to the capital, the Marquis's granddaughter, Vivienne Campbell, complains about having to attend the party of Daisy, whom she despises. Her grandfather explains that their marquisate and 2 other earldoms must attend with their heirs. The coming-of-age ceremony is a crucial event that determines a family's legacy. Vivienne scoffs, calling the Duke's family sinister and declaring that if they had any conscience, they wouldn't acknowledge Daisy. Her grandfather laughs, praising her spirit. At the ceremony, guests are already arriving. The Duke is showered with compliments about his beautiful and gifted daughter. Daisy graciously accepts the praise, crediting her father's guidance. Amy arrives and greets Daisy warmly. She presents her with a gift of beautiful earrings. Daisy is delighted to receive the magic item. She tries them on and promises to help Amy with her assessments once school starts. Amy is thrilled by her sister's kindness. Vivienne watches them with disgust, calling them phony. She is surprised to see both the Crown Prince and the second prince arrive at the same time. The second prince immediately confronts the Crown Prince, reminding him that Daisy has broken their engagement and declaring his intention to propose. The Crown Prince coolly remarks on his brother's terrible taste and poor judgment of character. Arthur boasts that Daisy is a goddess compared to the little scoundrel Sierra. Just as he says this, he sees a vision of Sierra. He is momentarily stunned. A hush falls over the crowd as a mysterious and beautiful woman in a stunning black and blue gown makes her entrance. No one recognizes the radiant figure. Sierra approaches the Duke and Daisy, apologizing for her lateness and explaining she had no maid to escort her. Daisy is inwardly reeling, unable to understand how things have gone so wrong. Sierra should be a mere insect living in her shadow. The party guests murmur amongst themselves, noting that the illegitimate daughter's demeanor is far more powerful and complex than the rumors suggested. Amidst the swirling gossip and disputes, Sierra remains poised. She reflects on her past timidity and finds that she is no longer intimidated by the judgment of others. Whether they offer compliments or insults, their opinions mean nothing to her now. She feels as though she has been completely reborn, body and soul. Daisy approaches with a smile, expressing relief at Sierra's arrival. She comments on how different Sierra seems, all while her mind races, wondering about the expensive outfit and magic earrings. She suspects they might be a secret gift from the second prince. Amy interrupts, demanding to know what gift Sierra has brought for Daisy, especially considering the pricey earrings she is wearing herself. Sierra calmly states that she will present her gift after the ceremony, promising it will be far more valuable than her own earrings. Daisy feigns excitement, eager to see it. Amy scoffs, disbelieving that Sierra could afford anything more valuable. Sierra smirks, unfazed by their contempt. An attendant announces that it is time for the ceremony to begin. The Duke addresses the guests, thanking them for attending and officially starting the coming-of-age ceremony. The ritual requires the heir to pay respects to their ancestors through a dance, and if they are acknowledged, a radiant light will bestow upon them the crown of family authority. As Daisy begins her dance, Achilles appears beside Sierra, invisible to all others, and remarks that Daisy will not be recognized. He explains he has used a concealment spell, so only Sierra can see him. He tells her that Daisy bears the burden of 2 Lancaster lives, which is why the ancestors will never accept her. He offers to imbue Sierra's eyes with his magic, so she can see for herself. Suddenly, Sierra sees it all clearly. Daisy killed a Lancaster family member. 2 souls are swirling around Daisy as she dances, and Sierra finally understands. In her past life, the ancestors had chosen her. She realizes that Daisy's hatred must have begun at that moment, with their father likely complicit in the schemes that followed. The Duke's attendant asks for instructions. At that moment, a radiant light shines down and bestows a magnificent crown upon Sierra's head, identifying her as the next head of the Lancaster family. The second prince and Amy are shocked. As Sierra feels her magic power solidifying, she is filled with a new sense of strength. Her once liquid magic is now crystallizing, a process Daisy had tried to steal from her in the past. Without the ancestors' blessing, Daisy's magic source could not crystallize on its own, which is why she had stolen Sierra's. The Duke, furious, orders the ceremony to continue regardless of the outcome. He is adamant that Sierra cannot be the heiress. Daisy stares in disbelief, unable to comprehend why the ancestors chose Sierra over her. She had eliminated her biggest threat, yet her plans were ruined. She struggles to maintain her composure, convinced there must be a mistake. Sierra approaches her, wearing the crown and a knowing smile. She reminds Daisy of a time she had offered to step aside, saying Daisy was more suitable to lead the family. She had even asked if Daisy truly wanted the position. She had naively believed they were a family, and offered to support her sister's claim. Now, Sierra echoes those same words with chilling sarcasm. She holds out the crown, asking what Daisy means to do. "This is the gift I prepared for you," she declares. She then asks her sister why she isn't kneeling to accept the position of family head. As Daisy is forced to her knees by an unseen power, Sierra remarks, "That's more like it." She leans in close, asking if Daisy likes her gift and why she still wants it, knowing everything. Daisy is consumed by rage and confusion, questioning why the ancestors would choose Sierra over her after all she had done. Her plans are in ruins. Sierra tells her she understands the confusion now that she knows what kind of person her sister truly is. She offers Daisy the headship, explaining that her true goal is to destroy the Lancaster family under Daisy's lead. The Duke, enraged, demands to know what Sierra is doing. Sierra coolly asks if she should be apologizing to her sister, or if he should be apologizing to her. She confronts him about his past actions, accusing him of using her until she had nothing left. The Duke calls her an ungrateful, unfilial child. Sierra calmly informs him that this will be the last time she calls him father. She renounces him, declaring that he has no right to the title after abandoning her and her mother in the woods. He desperately tries to claim it was a misunderstanding and that he searched for her because he cared. Sierra is disgusted by his lies. She unleashes a burst of power, shouting at him to shut up. She scatters copies of the Duke's private ledgers among the guests, exposing his crimes. The guests are shocked to see the documents. They reveal that the Duke and the second prince forged accounts to embezzle donations from the charity house. With a trembling voice, Sierra declares they all deserve to die. From within the ring, Achilles advises her to calm down and leave. He promises to follow her anywhere she wishes to go. Sierra agrees and borrows Achilles' dagger. The crowd wonders what she intends to do. Standing before the guests and her ancestors, she makes a vow. Vivienne and her grandfather watch, delighted by the unfolding drama. Sierra invokes the gods and devils, cutting her ties with the Lancaster family through a blood oath. She declares she has no further connection to them. The Duke is bound by a magical force, unable to stop her. The Crown Prince steps in, reminding the Duke of the blood oath and the embezzlement accusations. He gives a subtle signal. Sierra gives him a look of approval. She leaps from the balcony, calling for Fluffy. Fluffy reports that an army of thousands of birds is ready to provide cover for her escape. The Duke orders his people to capture Sierra before she can leave their territory. A maid urges Daisy, who is stunned by Sierra's display of rare magic, to return to her room. Daisy seethes with rage, vowing to kill Sierra no matter where she goes. The party ends early as the guests gossip about the Duke's downfall. The Crown Prince tells Sierra he looks forward to seeing her at the academy. Vivienne and her friends celebrate Daisy's humiliation, eager to spread the news at school. As Sierra flees, she finds her formal dress inconvenient. Inside the ring, Achilles offers to help her escape. He muses that since she has handled everything, his assistance is not needed. The Duke's mages pursue her, but she declares she is no longer the second miss. She senses their powerful energy, realizing there are more mages hidden in the shadows. They attack, but she dodges. She finds herself surrounded. Fluffy appears, urging her to run while his subordinates provide a distraction. A flock of small birds emerges from the trees. Sierra worries that the low-level beasts cannot hold off the mages. Fluffy rallies his troops. At his command, the birds unleash a barrage of droppings on the mages. While the mages are distracted, Fluffy proudly tells his master that they can at least create a diversion. Sierra, dodging the falling projectiles, comically asks for a heads-up next time. She stumbles and falls, but Achilles appears and catches her. He observes the mages trying to capture her. Deciding to eliminate the threat, he immobilizes them with his power. As they prepare to leave, they hear a sound approaching. Sierra finds the forest clearing empty and wonders where the mages went. She is surprised that Fluffy's unconventional tactic actually worked. Achilles, holding her, explains that the mages have retreated and asks where she wants to go next. Flustered, Sierra pushes away from him and stammers that she needs to go to school. She clarifies that her priority is finding the place where Fluffy was born. From a nearby tree, Fluffy watches in awe, terrified by how easily Achilles dispatched the high-level mages. He flies down to join them. Achilles looks at the moonlit landscape. Sierra finds the place strangely familiar and realizes it is where she lived as a child. Meanwhile, the second prince's attendant advises him to leave the Duke's party, as the scandal has made the situation too sensitive. He suggests the prince distance himself from the Lancaster family for now. The prince, however, is unfazed, confident the Duke can handle the fallout. He reveals a new plan. He will get engaged to Sierra instead. He dismisses her disownment as a mere tantrum, believing he can coax her back to inherit the family title. He smiles, convinced that everything will ultimately be his, and muses on how beautiful Sierra has become. Back in the forest, Achilles senses a magical barrier. He tells Sierra it was likely erected over 10 years ago. They find a small, hidden cabin, and Sierra realizes this is the home her mother left for her. She reflects on how little she knows about her mother, having only one old photograph. She wonders why her parents had her, and if she was a burden that led to her abandonment. Achilles gently reassures her that her mother must have loved her very much. He explains that the cabin and forest are protected by multiple layers of advanced barrier magic, a feat that would challenge even an archmage. The fact that so much residual magic remains after a decade is proof of her mother's deep love. The realization dawns on Sierra. Fluffy, perched on Achilles' head, whispers at him to comfort her. Achilles awkwardly admits he doesn't know how. He simply comments on the beautiful moonlight. He then asks her for a dance. Sierra is surprised, admitting he is the first person to ever ask her. He considers it his honor. As they dance, he congratulates her on leaving the place she hated. Sierra is struck by how cold his body feels, a reminder that he is a soul. She vows to grow stronger so she can one day revive him. He encourages her to do as she wishes, without pushing herself too hard. A gentle breeze blows, and Sierra feels it is the wind of freedom as she finally takes control of her own life. From a distance, Fluffy watches them and wishes for a love of its own. A meteor streaks across the sky, which Achilles identifies as the summer star, marking the official start of the season. Suddenly, a wave of energy radiates from the falling star, knocking Sierra off her feet. A magical book materializes before her. She wonders how it ended up there. She recalls seeing the same book in the Duke's library in her past life. This time, however, the first page contains a handwritten note from her mother, wishing her a happy 16th birthday and encouraging her to find her own answers. At the Duke's residence, The Duke has dispatched 5 archmages to capture Sierra. He tells Daisy that they must now advance their plans. He orders her to take Sierra's magic core and absorb her power. He acknowledges that Sierra's power is growing, but is still weaker than Daisy's, though that could change. Daisy agrees and returns to her room to train. As she leaves, she laments the loss of the young master and madam. Sierra feels a renewed determination to attend the academy she has always dreamed of. She holds the book from her mother and vows to do her best. She wonders what happened in the past and how her mother managed to leave the Lancaster family. She is resolved to uncover the whole truth. A disembodied voice asks where her ring is, and Sierra replies that it is in her bag. The voice, presumably Achilles, tells her to put it on and not lose it again. She asks him how he is floating, and he explains his power is waning from being outside the ring for too long. She tells him to go back inside. He hesitates, warning her of monsters on the road. She assures him she is not that fragile and that he can come out if she needs help. He agrees, and before returning to the ring, gives her a book he wrote on the basics of magic. As she reads by a campfire, she learns that magical power is not just about grade, but also about the density and resilience of one's magic veins. A high grade is useless without sufficient magic hardness. She recalls that magic power grade is determined by the form of the magic source, a concept that was never clearly explained to her before. Achilles' book clarifies that the forms range from low-grade red rose to high-grade gold. She realizes she needs a deeper understanding of cultivation. Fluffy asks when she last leveled up, and she replies it was before he was born. The memory of Achilles kissing her forehead after her last power-up comes to mind. She wonders if he likes her, but dismisses the thought as nonsense. She refocuses on her studies, resolving not to waste time on such thoughts. She tells herself that he was likely just assisting her training, and that her advancement benefits him as well. Fluffy finds its master's behavior very strange. Half a month later, they arrive in Rogery City, bustling with students heading for the Imperial Academy entrance exam. Fluffy complains that they nearly missed enrollment because of Sierra's detour. She explains she was being cautious of the Duke's pursuit and heads for the registration desk. A commotion erupts as a young nobleman bullies a commoner, declaring her unqualified to take the exam. He snatches the girl's admission ticket, claiming it as his own. The boy, identified as Baird, the Queen's nephew, mocks the girl for thinking a lowly commoner could study alongside him. The girl pleads for her ticket back, explaining it is her lifelong dream to attend the academy. Sierra steps in and snatches the ticket from Baird. She coolly asks if it is his. Before he can react, she declares that since it is now in her hands, it belongs to her. Baird threatens her for offending the Queen's nephew, but she is undaunted. She challenges him to try and take it back. She warns him that the city was established around the academy, and any trouble will surely attract the attention of the teachers and principal. She reminds him that admission is possible for anyone who passes the exam, regardless of their status. She questions if he has the authority to surpass the joint decision of the principal and the emperor. Flustered and defeated, Baird retreats with a final threat. The girl thanks Sierra, who casually brushes it off. As their stomachs grumble, Sierra suggests they eat first. She treats the girl, whose name is Pomni, to a lavish meal. Pomni is amazed by the generosity. She worries about the cost, but Sierra reassures her she has plenty of jewelry to sell. Pomni tearfully thanks Sierra and vows to repay her someday. Sierra asks if she passed the magic assessment, and Pomni proudly announces she is a 3-star beginner. Pomni tells Sierra she is 12 years old. Sierra is impressed, noting that at the same age, Daisy was only a 2-star beginner, despite having the Duke's resources. Pomni is clearly a gifted child. Sierra reflects on the Imperial Academy's recent policy change, which now requires all students, including nobles, to pass an entrance exam. She scoffs at the narrow-minded aristocrats who resent competing with commoners. Pomni timidly asks Sierra a question. She wonders why Sierra wasn't afraid of the nobleman who tried to bully her, admitting she herself was frozen with anger and fear. Sierra simply advises her to let him feel that same fear. She explains that bullies act intimidating because they want to be feared, but they are often insecure. Once their weakness is found, they are as fragile as paper. Inspired, Pomni jumps up and declares Sierra her idol. She vows to become a powerful person, just like her. They arrive at the academy's admissions office. A scalper approaches them, trying to sell an admission exam card. He offers a verified card for 10 gold coins. As they walk away, he calls after them, calling it a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Pomni is confused, but Sierra explains that the cards are fakes. She points out another scammer nearby. She recognizes a familiar person in the crowd. Just as a scammer is about to cheat a new victim, Andre, the brother of Amy, intervenes with a camera-like magic device. He calmly informs the man that he has recorded his criminal act and will report him to the authorities if he continues. The flustered scammer quickly flees. Andre tells Sierra he will check in first and wishes Pomni luck on her exam. As they walk, he tells Sierra that Leo sent him to save the Conjuring Academy. He quickly corrects himself, calling her the light of their department. Sierra gets a bad feeling, suspecting Leo has tricked her. In a flashback, Andre pleads with Leo to do something about the failing Conjuring department, which is on the verge of being shut down. Leo calmly replies that there will be new students this semester. He tells Andre to keep the news a secret for now. Back in the present, Andre offers to take Sierra to Bowen, who is in charge of student admissions. Other students whisper as they see them together. They meet Bowen, the handsome president of the student council. Andre explains that he has brought the person Leo sent and asks him to arrange her admission. Sierra introduces herself and presents the recommendation letter from the principal. Bowen is thrilled to meet the Sierra that Leo often mentions. He enthusiastically offers to help with her admission, much to Andre's chagrin. A female student blocks their path, questioning why Sierra can enroll directly. She scoffs at the principal's letter, believing it doesn't prove Sierra's abilities. She demands that Sierra take the entrance exam to prove her worth. She dismisses the recommendation as a fluke. Other students join in, questioning the preferential treatment. To their surprise, Sierra smiles and says she actually wants to take the exam. She is curious to see what the academy's assessment is like. The female student smugly tells her to go ahead. Sierra asks Bowen if she can participate, and he encourages her to go for it. The student tells her not to come out crying. Sierra then proposes a bet. She wagers 1,000 gold coins that she can pass the assessment. If she fails, she will pay the same amount or kneel and apologize. Sierra cheekily suggests the student is only so generous because she is eager to give her money. She then compliments the student, calling her a nice person. Bowen cheers Sierra on as the other students express their doubts. The gossiping students identify Sierra as Daisy's illegitimate daughter and accuse her of seducing multiple seniors. They mock her as a mere magic apprentice. They eagerly await her failure and embarrassment. At the first test site, candidates are instructed to enter one by one. They must choose a weapon, and their choice will affect their final score. Sierra asks if the items must be returned. A blindfolded attendant informs her that any weapon chosen is hers to keep if she passes. While other candidates choose swords and wands, Fluffy urges Sierra to pick something powerful. Sierra, however, decides to choose what is best for her, knowing the test will be unpredictable. She picks up a rock, much to Fluffy's confusion. She notes its high density, hardness, and light weight. Another candidate laughs at her, calling her a fool, but Fluffy realizes she has transformed the rock into a valuable ore. With her new dagger, she is ready for the next stage. At the second test site, candidates are presented with 6 doors and must choose one of the 6 trials. The trials are all different, and some may be deadly. The room is dark, and the candidates are instructed to choose a trial. The warning of deadly trials sends a wave of fear through the crowd. Fluffy asks which door to pick, and Sierra chooses the one on the far right. The symbols above the doors represent different challenges, but the meaning of the last one is unknown. The crowd is shocked as she walks towards the door marked for the trial of hell. They recall that only Daisy and Leo have challenged it in the last 10 years, and Leo nearly died. Despite Fluffy's plea to choose another, Sierra is determined to face the same trial as Daisy. Fluffy bravely declares it will stay with her. In the observation room, the proctors remark that her choice makes her either a genius or a fool. One of them wonders why he has never heard of such an amazing candidate before. Inside the trial, Sierra is enveloped in a strange orb. A proctor explains that it is an individual trial, and no familiars are allowed. Fluffy is worried for its master's safety. Inside his ring, Achilles senses his connection to Sierra has been broken. He detects a barrier outside the ring. He recognizes it as a soul barrier, which severs the soul's connection to the outside world. Fluffy frantically demands that the proctor release its master. The proctor explains that Sierra has entered her deep consciousness for an illusionary trial that will unveil her deepest fears. If she cannot escape, she will never wake up. Fluffy asks if she will go blind, but the proctor gravely replies that she will die. Sierra is trapped in a vision, surrounded by the inextinguishable flames of her past hatred. The unquenchable fire chokes her. A vision of Daisy appears, offering false comfort. The illusion twists into a nightmare of betrayal, with Daisy demanding her magic source. Sierra wonders if this is how her heart will find peace, but a deeper part of her knows it is not enough. As her illusionary self begins to fade, Fluffy cries out for her to wake up. A voice calls out to her. She finds herself in a place reeking of blood. Achilles' voice calls to her again as she struggles in the illusion. She recognizes his voice, dazed and confused. He explains that she is stuck in a barrier he couldn't penetrate, but now that she is awake, they can communicate. He warns her that she will die if she doesn't escape soon, and tells her to find the brightest place. She locates the barrier's exit, and he commands her to destroy it. As time runs out, she gathers her strength. With a desperate cry, she resolves to live. Her dagger shatters the barrier, and a final message appears. Live your life fully. Sierra and Achilles sit together as the sun rises, and he notes that her magic power has increased slightly due to her recent good deeds. She muses that this must be the meaning of her second chance at life. She admires the beautiful sunrise, a sight she's never truly appreciated before. Achilles promises she will get to see it every day from now on. She reflects that having Achilles around has made many things better. She feels a warmth and coziness she never experienced at the Duke's mansion, and looks forward to leaving that place for good. The memory of the sunrise remains in her heart as a symbol of her changing world. During her magic assessment, the proctors are astounded by her extremely pure light attribute magic. The directors of the word's spirit, summoning, and divination departments immediately begin arguing, each wanting to recruit her for their own faculty. Sierra, holding Fluffy, watches the commotion with a smile, amused that it's all about skill, not just first come, first served. She recalls the proctor's instructions to head to a specific room for her department assignment, but she has already promised Leo she would join the creation department. She cautiously approaches the designated door, wondering if more tests await. Inside, she is greeted by the shadowy, red-eyed figures of the department heads. They enthusiastically welcome her to the Word Spirit department. The other directors try to entice her with offers of scholarships and a rare S+ level contract beast. The head of the Word Spirit department promises to make her a powerful archmage. He even offers her access to their collection of ancient magical literature, much to the outrage of the other directors. Sierra politely declines their generous offers, stating her desire to join the creation department. The directors are surprised by her choice. They warn her that the creation department has been in decline for some time, but she remains firm in her decision. The Word Spirit director respects her choice. A man named Carter is tasked with escorting her, though the others lament such a good kid being wasted. They arrive at the Creation Academy building. When Sierra asks if he will be her teacher, Carter explains he is the director of herbal medicine, not creation. She then asks where she can find the creation department's teacher, as she didn't see him earlier. Carter cheerfully informs her that the dean passed away 2 years ago. Since then, a student named Leo has been temporarily filling the role of teacher. Sierra is shocked by this bad news from above. Carter welcomes her to the tattered and creepy-looking creation department building. He offers her a place in his herbology department if she changes her mind, but she is too stunned to respond. She mutters in frustration about the rundown state of the academy. She fumes over Leo's deception, questioning what a student teacher could possibly teach her. In a flashback, Leo is seen relaxing while another person urges him to do something about the failing department. Later, he is seen giving Sierra a welcome gift from the academy. He tells her he grabbed one for the president of the student council, Bowen, as well. Sierra realizes he lied to her. She confronts him about the department's sorry state, but he is not in the room. Outside, Bowen and Andre wonder if Sierra will stay. Fluffy misses its master. Leo presents Sierra with a robe and the creation department badge. He compliments her, but his charm has no effect. She tells him she is still unsure about staying. He then reveals that the director of the Creation Academy is not dead but missing, and it was a setup. He is investigating the matter and already has some clues. The case is related to the incomplete magic item she repaired for him. He explains that a powerful individual is using forbidden magic and life experiments to create an army of conjurers who serve only him. The missing director was contacted by this person, but refused to join. Leo warns Sierra that with her rare light element, she will be a prime target for this individual. Staying in the creation department will provide her with temporary safety and protection. Sierra understands his intentions. She notes that this investigation could cost him his life, realizing his death in her past life was no accident. She declares that she is not afraid of death and has her own truths to uncover. She realizes the coincidences are too great. Someone wants the crown prince dead, and Daisy wants her magic source, and it all culminated in her being framed for his murder. The Pope's involvement further complicates the matter. She agrees that staying in the department is the safest option for them both. The other students of the creation department, Bowen and Andre, decide to throw a welcoming party for their new junior. They plan a lavish meal and even include treats for Fluffy. In the word spirit department, the students are shocked to learn that the illegitimate daughter aced the exam. Daisy's friends worry for her. Daisy, however, is unfazed, believing Sierra only joined the failing department to challenge her. She vows to ensure her foolish sister faces the dangers of the world. One of Daisy's friends asks Bowen why he is telling them about Sierra's admission. He cheerfully explains he is there to help Sierra with her debt. He announces the bet Noah made with Sierra, 10,000 gold if she passed the assessment. Daisy questions the validity of the bet, but Bowen, having witnessed it, offers to settle the matter in the arena. Daisy, asserting her department's fairness, tells Noah to pay up. The other students mock Sierra for joining a worthless department. Bowen keeps the truth of her difficult assessment and the director's interest in her a secret for now. The students continue to gossip, spreading rumors about Sierra and Leo. Bowen tries to defend them. Pomni steps in, revealing that the freshmen know Sierra passed the hardest assessment. The other students are in disbelief, as only Daisy had passed the illusionary trial, a feat even the crown prince had failed. Amy wonders if Sierra really passed. Another student dismisses it as a rumor, claiming the director halted the assessment to prevent a royal family member from dying. She accuses Pomni of defending the girl who seduced her sister's fiancé. Bowen stops the girl from slapping Pomni. He reminds her that as classmates, they should keep their hands to themselves. The girl retorts that nobles cannot accept him protecting an illegitimate child. Just then, Vivienne and Yea arrive. Vivienne explains she is there to deliver python dung for the director. They announce that Lancaster's ancestors chose Sierra as the heir, and that Sierra ran away after the ceremony. Vivienne gleefully recounts how the ancestor statue blew up. Daisy calmly explains that a second ceremony was held at home, where she was chosen as the sole recognized heir. She dismisses the rumors and tells her classmates not to be late for class. Pomni gives Bowen the money from Noah to take to Sierra. In the creation department kitchen, a surprise welcoming party is held for Sierra. She is surprised by the gesture. Her new classmates congratulate her for being the top student and welcome Fluffy as well. Sierra is touched, realizing how much joy a simple meal can bring. The small group celebrates together. Amidst the warmth and happiness, Sierra reminds herself of her true purpose for coming to the academy, to become strong enough to be indestructible. She knows Daisy will soon make a move and begins to strategize while studying the alchemical grimoire her mother left her. She is already familiar with the basics of the world's elements from her past life. The next section details the infusion of magic power into object particles. This is followed by recipes and production methods for various magical items. She recalls mass-producing these items for the Lancaster family in her past life, the funds from which were used for Daisy's training and the Duke's mistresses. She is speechless at her own past foolishness. She vows to earn her own money in the future and let the Lancasters go to hell. She then discovers a formula for a magic item she has never seen before. It is a magic weapon. The Imperial Academy is located on a coastal crossroads between the realms of elves, mermaids, and humans, serving as a symbol of peace. It has 5 departments: word spirit, summoning, herbology, divination, and creation. To apply, one must be between 12 and 20 years old and have a magic source of at least an apprentice level. The directors of the 5 departments then choose students based on their final assessment results. The Academy's bulletin board displays the rankings, with Pomni placing second in the freshman assessment and Daisy first in the advanced class entrance exam. Students gossip about Sierra's remarkable performance in the illusionary trial. They recall the drama at Daisy's coming-of-age ceremony, where the ancestors chose Sierra as the heir before she was kicked out of the family. In another corner, a girl informs Daisy and Amy that Sierra ranked first among the new students. Amy is in disbelief. Daisy seethes, frustrated that Sierra keeps ruining her plans. She decides she must take care of her sister quickly. As Sierra walks through the academy grounds, she draws admiring glances from other students. She reflects on her new reality, where inner demons will now exist for her enemies, and she will continue to grow stronger. She vows that her light will become an unhealing wound for Daisy. In the creation department classroom, Leo begins a lesson on disassembling and reconstructing an iron block. He explains the process of using magic to envelop an object's particles. He then demonstrates disassembling the block. Sierra notices that the particles seem degraded. When Leo reconstructs the block, it transforms into a small, sparking dagger. His classmates are amazed, having never expected to see an expert among them. Sierra explains that Leo's magic didn't fully envelop the particles, causing them to pick up external elements and affecting the material's purity. She hands him a new iron block and suggests he try again. This time, the resulting sword is perfect. Sierra then demonstrates how to reshape objects using replication and growth magic. She transforms the small knife into a large sword. Her classmates are so impressed that they suggest she should be the teacher. Later, Leo asks Sierra about the lightning attribute she used. She explains that the knife she created carries a faint lightning magic. However, it is best used by someone with the same attribute. She shows them how to enhance the effect by adding the power of a magic circle during disassembly. Using a pre-drawn grimoire, Andre is overwhelmed, calling his classmates monsters for their incredible skills. Sierra begins auditing classes in other departments to expand her knowledge. The academy has separate classes for different skill levels, with one-on-one training for the most advanced mages. Other students wonder how she can keep up with her own coursework while attending so many extra classes. Her schedule is packed with morning and afternoon classes across various departments, followed by late-night study sessions in the library. She also studies her mother's grimoire and watches course replays in her dorm. She avoids Daisy's cronies by staying out of less crowded areas. Realizing she lacks combat experience, she decides to practice at the arena. She becomes known as the mysterious, masked witch who has won 100 matches in just 2 weeks. She plans to either wait for Daisy to make a move or strike first herself. She vows to be the one to judge her family's crimes, warning them that their deaths are near. Meanwhile, under the Empress's arrangement, Daisy becomes engaged to the second prince. The society pages buzz with excitement over the fairy-tale-like couple. Prince Arthur proposes with a lavish ring, promising to cherish her forever. Daisy accepts, pleased that everything is going according to her plan. Just like in her past life, she recalls the fear of the illusionary trial, where no one knows what they will see or if they will emerge alive. A flashback reveals a maid rushing in to announce that something terrible has happened to the young master. A young, bloodied Daisy sits on the floor, having been manipulated by her older sister into believing she had to get rid of something that would bring her harm. The older sister feigns innocence, claiming she never thought her brother would be harmed. She tells their mother that with the brother gone, they will now be seen as equals, competing for the heirship. Their horrified mother questions how she could have given birth to such a daughter. After this incident, the mother is told she can no longer have children. The older sister smirks, believing this is the fate of the loser in the fight to become head of the family. Back in the present, Daisy emerges from the illusionary trial, having passed. She is hailed as the top student. At her coming-of-age ceremony, she is also chosen by the ancestors to be the next duchess. In the academy library, Sierra discusses the upcoming winter ball with a classmate. She says she is not interested in attending. Suddenly, a bouquet of red roses appears before her. The second prince, Arthur, invites her to be his dance partner. She reminds him he is engaged to her sister, but he dismisses it, claiming his heart belongs to her. He calls his engagement a mere formality. He promises to always treat her well. Sierra finds his words ridiculous. He puckers up for a kiss. Fluffy flies in and plants a kiss on his lips instead, leaving him bewildered. The bird cheekily explains it just used the bathroom and forgot to clean up. Sierra tells Fluffy she was about to slap the annoying prince herself. Other students in the library are scandalized by the prince's loud behavior. Sierra reflects on the political situation. With the second prince engaged to Daisy, Crown Prince Leo's position is precarious. The second prince has now gained the support of the powerful Russell magical family, the Duke's mansion, and significant economic power. However, only the Crown Prince can claim the throne. Sierra decides she needs to talk to Leo about his plans. There is still one problem she needs to solve. She has hit a bottleneck in her training and needs a light department instructor. She wonders why she can't seem to break through to the next rank. Her classmate knows a teacher from the light department. She offers to introduce Sierra to her tomorrow, revealing that the teacher is the headmistress. Sierra decides to find Leo first. She asks Andre for his whereabouts, and he tells her Leo is in his office. She thinks that if Leo lacks the drive to compete for the throne, she might need to give him a nudge. She finds him practicing, asking her to be his dance partner. He seems to be rehearsing his invitation. He then formally asks her to the ball. She tries to discuss an important matter with him, but he seems flustered. He quickly recovers and invites her in. She notices the roses on his table and asks if the second prince came by. She explains that he gave her the same flowers just last night. Leo is shocked by the news. He asks if she still likes the second prince. She vehemently denies it, and he apologizes for the misunderstanding. She tells him she is there to discuss something important. She urges him to fight for the throne. As she leaves, Fluffy asks what is wrong. She tells it that Achilles has been unusually quiet lately. She dismisses Fluffy's suggestion to find him, assuming he is just resting, but she can't shake a feeling of frustration. In his spiritual realm, Achilles hears her plea for Leo to fight for the throne. She returns to Leo's office and proposes they work together. He then asks her to marry him, explaining that he needs her strength and will protect her in return. She tells him it is an unwise choice, and that a marriage to a more powerful noble family would be better for him. She offers to help him with her creation magic because she wants him to be the next emperor, and she assures him she will not betray him. He sadly replies that he doesn't trust her. Students gossip about the remarkable girl from the Lancaster family who passed the illusionary trial. They rehash the drama from Daisy's coming-of-age ceremony, where Sierra was chosen as the heir only to be disowned. Elsewhere, Daisy's friends inform her that Sierra ranked first among the new students. Amy is stunned by the news. Daisy is furious, realizing Sierra is systematically ruining all her plans. She decides she can no longer wait for an opportunity and must deal with her sister immediately. As Sierra walks through the academy, she attracts attention as the top student of the new class. She vows to keep improving, determined to become a constant torment for Daisy. She promises that her light will inflict wounds on her sister that will never heal. In the creation department, Leo begins his lesson on disassembling and reconstructing an iron block. He explains the process of enveloping an object's particles with magic power. As he demonstrates the disassembly, Sierra notices a degradation in the particles. He successfully reconstructs the block into a dagger. His classmates are impressed, but Sierra points out the flaws in his technique. She explains that his magic didn't fully envelop the particles, causing them to be contaminated by external elements. She hands him another block and encourages him to try again. His second attempt is perfect. Sierra then demonstrates how to reshape objects using magic. She transforms the dagger into a large sword. Her classmates are so impressed, they suggest she take over as the teacher. Later, Leo asks her about the lightning attribute she used to create the first dagger. She explains the knife carries a faint lightning magic, making it most suitable for a lightning attribute user. She shows the class how to add the power of a magic circle during disassembly by unleashing a pre-drawn grimoire. Andre is completely bewildered by the advanced magic on display. Sierra then begins auditing classes in other departments. The academy offers classes for various skill levels. Other students wonder how she can manage such a heavy course load. Her days are filled with classes, followed by nights in the library. She then returns to her dorm to study her mother's grimoire and review course materials. She avoids Daisy's cronies by staying away from secluded areas. Feeling the need for real combat experience, she decides to practice at the arena on weekends. She becomes a legend known as the Masked Witch, winning 100 consecutive matches in just 2 weeks. She resolves to strike first against her enemies. She vows to be the one to judge their crimes, warning them that their deaths are near. Meanwhile, Daisy becomes engaged to the second prince. The social circle fawns over the fairy tale couple. Prince Arthur proposes with a diamond ring, promising to cherish her forever. Daisy accepts, her plans proceeding just as she arranged. Just like in her past life, a flashback reveals why the illusionary trial is so feared. No one can predict what horrors they will face inside. A young Daisy is seen after a terrible incident involving her younger brother. She had been manipulated by her older sister into getting rid of him. The older sister feigns innocence before their mother. She reveals her plan to compete with her brother for the heirship on equal footing. Their mother is horrified by her daughter's cruelty. She is later told she can no longer have any more children. The older sister smirks, believing that in the battle for succession, blood ties don't matter. Back in the present, Daisy passes the illusionary trial. She is hailed as the top student. At her coming-of-age ceremony, she is also chosen by the ancestors as the next duchess. In the academy library, Sierra's classmates discuss the upcoming winter ball. She tells them she isn't interested. Suddenly, the second prince appears with a bouquet of red roses. He invites her to be his dance partner. She reminds him he is engaged to her sister, but he dismisses it as a formality, claiming his heart belongs to her. He insists his heart is truly hers. He promises to treat her well. Sierra finds the situation utterly ridiculous. He puckers up for a kiss, but Fluffy intercepts, planting a sloppy kiss on his cheek instead. The bird cheekily explains it just used the bathroom. Sierra is amused, admitting she was about to slap the annoying prince herself. The other students are scandalized by the commotion. Sierra reflects on the political ramifications of the second prince's engagement to Daisy and worries about Crown Prince Leo's position. With the powerful Russell family's support, the second prince has become a formidable rival for the throne. She resolves to speak with Leo about his plans. There is still one unresolved issue. Her magic has plateaued, and she needs a light element instructor. She wonders why she can't break through the intermediate rank bottleneck. Her blue-haired classmate, Doris, says she knows a teacher from the light department. She offers to introduce Sierra to the headmistress the next day. Sierra decides to find Leo first and see what he thinks. She finds Andre and asks for Leo's whereabouts. He tells her Leo is in his office. She thinks he needs a nudge to compete for the throne. She finds him practicing, asking an imaginary Sierra to be his dance partner. He's holding a bouquet of flowers. She finds his rehearsal a bit too deliberate. He then formally asks her to be his dance partner at the ball. She tries to discuss something important with him. He nervously invites her in. She notices the roses and asks if the second prince had been there. She tells him about the prince's visit the previous night. Leo is visibly flustered by the news. He asks if she still has feelings for his brother. She denies it, and he apologizes for misunderstanding. She tells him she is there to discuss an important matter. She urges him to fight for the throne. As she leaves, Fluffy asks what is wrong. She tells it that Achilles has been unusually quiet. She decides not to disturb him, assuming he is resting. She feels a pang of frustration. In his own space, Achilles overhears her plea for Leo to fight for the throne. She returns to Leo's office and proposes they work together. He surprises her by asking her to marry him, offering his protection in exchange for her strength. She advises against it, suggesting a marriage with a more powerful noble family would be a wiser political move. She offers her creation magic to help him become emperor and assures him of her loyalty. He sadly replies that he doesn't trust her. Sierra worries that Achilles might have died in the ring, as he has been silent for a while. She tries to enter the ring's inner world, but finds her access denied, realizing he is intentionally keeping her out. Frustrated, she throws a small tantrum on her bed. She vows never to look for him again, reminding herself she still has plenty to do. 5 days later, Doris finds Sierra cooped up in her room, reading. She urges her to go outside, concerned that she doesn't look well. Sierra tries to brush her off, but Doris is insistent. She drags Sierra to the back street of the academy, which is decorated festively for the upcoming winter ball. Doris buys a gingerbread man and asks Sierra what she would like to do, suggesting they look at clothes as she has decided she wants to attend the ball too. Sierra mentions she doesn't have a dance partner, but Doris reassures her that one isn't needed to attend. Nearby, two ominous figures watch them, remarking on the despicable pair. They mention that they cannot act yet because of Daisy's plans. The male figure licks his lips, eager for some fun. His companion warns him to stop, reminding him not to disrupt Daisy's plans. She tells him he will have plenty of chances to play with mermaids in the future. He shrugs, agreeing they can deal with the fish later. Meanwhile, in a crystalline ice chamber, Daisy is informed that all arrangements for the ball are complete. She holds a shard of ice, confident that framing Sierra for the murder of the mermaid princess will ruin her forever. A flashback shows the Russell family estate engulfed in a mystical purple storm a few days ago. The clan leader had surrendered to Crown Prince Leo, begging for his life. The Russell family was completely eradicated. A small, injured girl had emerged from the chaos, calling out for her big brother. She repeatedly mumbled about a basement, pleading for help. She led Leo and his men to a hidden location. They discovered an underground passage. The passage led to a horrifying laboratory filled with children and mermaids. An aide reported that all the mermaids were dead. The children were likely experimental subjects used to harness the mermaid's power. Leo had ordered his men to take everyone back for care and preservation, a bad feeling growing in his gut as he worried about Sierra and Doris. 2 days later, Sierra receives a message from Leo on a small communicator, informing her that everything went smoothly and he is on his way back. The sale of her magic items has been a success. The Duke of Lancaster is furious to learn that all the nobles are buying their magic items from a new, unknown shop that offers cheaper and more durable products. He orders his staff to lower their prices, unable to believe a small, background-less shop could outperform the Duke's mansion. In her room, Sierra addresses her absent father, declaring she no longer wants to be a little lamb. She questions if controlling others' lives brings him happiness, and warns him that his wealth, status, and power will soon be gone. She vows that his pain will become her happiness. At the ball, Daisy arrives with the second prince. They are surprised to see Sierra there with Doris. The sisters exchange a tense greeting. Daisy passive-aggressively questions if Sierra remembers the family's kindness in educating her. The other guests whisper, recalling that Sierra has already cut ties with the Lancaster family. Sierra scoffs at the notion of kindness. She laughs, telling Daisy she didn't realize she was so funny. Daisy retorts that they will see if she is still laughing by the end of the night. The crowd is divided, some finding Sierra rude while others support her.